All right, what's going on, everybody? So today, in this video, I wanted to talk about your statistics, and because I remember if you listen to my podcast episode with Beyond the PDT, I mentioned a couple times that knowing your stats and understanding them is important, and you probably hear that a lot. A lot of people say that in trading, but what does that actually mean, right? Like, what stats should I be looking at, right? What numbers are good? What numbers are bad? So I'm actually gonna go over what I personally look at, and we're gonna do that by looking at some of the really profitable traders and the quote unquote gurus of this small cap space. If you know a trader who trades large caps or some other different sector or in a different community of the stock market, this isn't going to apply. But if you are trading small cap stocks, these are some of the people I look up to. These are some of the people I know I can see their stats on profitably, so we're going to go over those and their tendencies and their similarities. So also another disclaimer is that when I go over these stats, don't think that you have to now try to manipulate your trades to create these own stats, right? Trade well, and these stats will follow secondly, right? Don't try to be like the NBA basketball player who'll shoot extra shots just so he can get more rebounds and make his rebound stats look good. Like, don't let the stats be a priority. Just use these numbers and use these trends that I'm going to show you as guidelines to let you know when you're starting to trade better and when you're starting to improve. Okay, so with that being said, let's get into it. So on profitably, I'm allowed to see statistics of people who post their trades. So we have Tim Sykes, we got Tim Grittani, Steven Dux, Roland Wolf, and Mark Crook, and then we have me. But I'll go over my stats later in the video. So I looked at their average gain, average loss, average win percentage, average loss percentage, or percent loss, percent win, profit factor, and win rate. So we're going to go over all of these. I'm going to tell you the similarities that I see in them and why they're all similar. Okay. So the first part is your wins, your average win has to be bigger than your average loss. Like, hands down, no exceptions. That's how it's got to be. I know that sounds pretty self-explanatory, like, duh, Kyle, of course, like, I have to win bigger than I lose. But some people overlook that. Some people want to have their win rate more important than the average loss percentage, but I'm telling you, if your average loss is bigger than your average win, your win rate and win percentage is going to have to be so much higher that it's going to make it 10 times harder to be profitable. It's much easier to make sure your gains are always bigger than your losses by cutting your losses quickly and letting your winners run. And you can see that, right? Look at all these people. Look at all these guys. All of their average gain is bigger than their average loss. Some are bigger than others, but all of them have bigger gains and losses. It's just that simple, right? So that's the first thing. Pretty self-explanatory. Now we look at average win to average loss, percent loss. So if you notice, if you look at these five, and even you can look at mine as well, all of them are at least around 7% or over 7%. I don't know why that is. I can't explain to you why that is, but you can see it, right? 7, just under 7 with 6.74, almost 8%, 13%, 7%. I'm 9 and 10 over here. So this, in the small cap space, right, the wins you make, and if you let your winners run, your average win percent is probably going to be around 7% or higher. Now, if you're a scalper, if you're totally trading a different strategy, then of course these stats aren't going to be your own stats. But if you're trading similar styles to how these guys trade, that's what you should be looking for, right? That's going to tell you, okay, maybe I am letting my winners run. Maybe I am, letting, taking big enough profits around 7% or more. And then average loss, all of them are in the 4s and at least below 5, right? We have Dux's 5.17, but, it's pretty damn close. All of them are below 5, so that tells us, okay, when they cut a loss, it's usually below 5%, right? And again, along with the average gain over average loss, all the average win percentages are higher, around 7, and the average loss around 4. So again, you see that discrepancy, you see that spread, and you see that difference. Next would be profit factor. So for those of you who don't know what profit factor is, it is your gross profit over your gross loss. So what's your gross profit? Let's say you add up all your profitable trades, and you make $10,000. and let's say you add up all your losing trades and you lost 3,000. Okay, so your total profit for let's say this is over a month. Your total profit would be 7,000. Right? That's your total profit, gross loss, total profit. But your profit factor would be this 10,000, your gross profit, divided by your gross loss. So in this case, your profit factor would be 3.33. Now, what I noticed in most profitable traders is that their profit factor is over 2. If it's over 1, you're profitable. If you're under 1, you're not profitable, right? So let's say you have, profit factor, because like if you put a gross loss of 10,000 and gross win of 10,000, your profit factor ends up 1, you make no money. So at 1, you're exactly break even. If you're under 1, you're unprofitable. The reason why I think having a profit factor over 2 is important, because that tells you how much money you're keeping from the market. If you have a profit factor of 2, which would be if I had made 10,000 and then lost 5,000, it's telling me I'm keeping at least half of my money from the market, right? If you have a profit factor under 2, it's telling you you're probably giving more money and losses back to the market than you probably should, right? Again, strategies may vary. Some can have a really large profit factor, some could have really low ones. But for me, what I've seen in these stats from these gurus, all of them are above 2, right? They're keeping at least half, right? Obviously, the higher the profit factor, the better. But as like a base minimum to like really feel comfortable as a trader and keep the money that you're making, you're not giving it all away back to the market, keeping at least half with a profit factor of 2 is good. And then lastly, we have win rate. As a general like consensus in like the community, everyone wants their win rate to be higher. They're looking for the setup that's going to have the biggest win rate, and they think that's most important. I personally think your win rate is not as important as most people like it to be. I personally think your average gain to average loss should be more important. Like I said earlier, right? You could have, your average loss be bigger than your average gain, but you're going to need a win rate of like 80, 90%. That rarely ever exists in the stock market. So having your average gain bigger than your average loss will allow you to have a lower win rate and not feel that stress of like having to constantly win so many times. And so if you look at here, most win rates are, fluctuating between, 80 at the maximum highest. Like maybe if you find a great setup and strategy, you can get it to 80%, but most are between like 60 and 50%. But the thing is, you can be profitable with a 40% win rate. You can be profitable with a 30 or 20% rate. I know there's trend following, which is a whole different strategy, where some people win like 25% of the time, but their average win is so much bigger than when they lose that they're profitable. So that's why the win rate shouldn't be the priority. It should be secondary behind your average gain being bigger than your average loss. And also too, actually I'll show you this graph I have. Your win rate psychologically could affect you, right? I know at the end of the day, I want to be profitable no matter what. That's my first priority. If I'm profitable, that's what matters. But if I want to try to maybe improve my trading, of course, I would like to, maybe increase my win percentage. When my win percentage is around 60, I feel pretty comfortable. When it gets close to 50 and I'm only winning half the time, psychologically, I know being profitable is more important. But I would be lying to myself if I didn't say I was feeling a little bit uncomfortable, right? I like to win around 60% of the time. And the reason why that is because if you look at this graph here, I'll explain it to you right here. So this is your win rate on the left, and this is the number of losses you could potentially take in a 50 trade period, right? So if you win only 5% of the time, the chances of you taking 2 losses in a row to 11 losses in a row is 100%. If you win 95% of the time, the chances of you winning 4 times in a row to 11 times is 0, right? You're rarely ever going to lose 2 or 3 times in a row. So, looking at mine right now, I'm between 50 and 60%. So if we go back to here, let's look at 60, right? I'm going to lose, there's a high chance I'm going to lose 3 times in a row, high chance I'll lose 4, decent chance I'll lose 5, and then it gets lower and lower from there. And I can tell you from looking at my stats for the year, the most strand of losses I've had year to date for 2019 is 5, right? So so it's good to have this chart because with your win rate, where you're starting to like kind of reach the peaks and the valleys of your potential drawdowns, potential win streaks, lose streaks. Because, when I lose 5 losses in a row, I need to know, okay, yeah, like this isn't normal. I need to maybe take a step back. I need to like reevaluate where I'm at. Maybe I'm not seeing the market clearly. And so you can see this with every win percentage. So that being said, that's just something to know. I will tweet out this picture for you guys to save it, so you guys can keep and refer back to it. And so I'm recording this video on, what day is it? I think it's July 13th. And so I've decided to compare my stats, right? So now that you know what most profitable traders in the small cap space look like between, the win rate, the profit factor, average gain to average loss, etc., you can start to see how you're improving, right? If you, look at your stats a year ago and look at your stats to now, like you can see, okay, how have I improved? How have I gotten better? And so what I've done is, these are my stats for me with every trade I've ever traded. Like on Profitly, from the very first trade when I was losing trader to up to now, this column on the left is those stats. I then took my stats from year to date. So 2019 to July 13th, these are my stats. And so clearly, just using numbers, I can see I'm improving as a trader, right? My average gain has gone up, over $250. My average loss has only gone up 120, 130 bucks. So that's sweet to know that my average gain has increased by 250, but my average loss has only increased by like 120. That's good to see. My average win has gone up 0.5%. My average loss has gone down 0.5%. My profit factor has increased, so I'm actually keeping, it's gone from 2.9 to 3.36. So I'm actually keeping more money and not giving more back to the market. And I'm around that psychologically comfortable win rate of 60%. So that feels really good. It's good to see. And so, like I said back with what I said in the beginning of the video, I'm not trading to like create these stats, right? I'm just using the numbers after the fact to show and confirm with me that I'm improving as a trader, right? If I never saw these stats, how would I know if I'm improving or not? Like, yeah, I might be more profitable, but what if I'm being more profitable in a more risky way? What if I'm making more money and there's a dark side of my strategy that I don't know about? So knowing these numbers and know that I am, I have numbers to confirm with me that I'm trading well feels good and lets me know I'm on the right track. So that's a way you can use, these numbers. All these stats are on Profitly, so you can easily look them up for these gurus and for myself. So that's pretty much the basics of how I look at for statistics. There's obviously plenty more stats that I look at. If you guys are interested, let me know. I could do, a part 2 of this video and look in more depth stats. But that's about it for now. So enjoy the rest of your weekend, guys. I'll catch you guys later. Peace out.